What happens when you smash together a bunch of ideas from a lot of different movies and wrap them in a cautionary tale? Well, you get Assassination Nation. It sounds like it could be a mess, right? Is it though? Let's go. So Assassination Nation has a lot of different things going on within it. It is kind of a hyper-violent, stylistic, just cautionary tale with some social commentary thrown in, and also some hypocrisy and just all kinds of weirdness and ideas being thrown at us. So with all of these ideas and these different things coming at us, it has the potential for being just kind of a mess, or it could be honed really well and just a very poignant story that hits home. The cautionary tale portion of the story started out like it could be very good, that it would be very accurate, and that it could really hit home and actually cause some discussion. It talks about privacy rights and social media and judging others for what they post versus what you post. It also talks about tolerance and allowing just, hey, you do you and I'll do me. The story surrounds a hack that happens at this small town called Salem. And what happens is everybody's technology begins to be hacked and all of their secrets are shared. And what this does is it then turns people on each other because, hey, you're not as perfect as you said you were, or golly, this politician is doing some things that he was totally against out in public, but in his private life he's not. Or even like, hey, I'm sending these secretly to somebody else, or you entrusted me with this secret, and yet I've been telling everybody else behind your back. You also have just this large group of girls that they don't have an issue spreading it and commenting when other people's stuff is hacked and leaked. Like they're all about it and they're commenting and sharing and doing all kinds of stuff. And the whole school is really, and you see it could reach out further and further, but we're only in this microcosm of just this school in this town. But when their stuff is leaked, oh, no, that's not okay. All of a sudden, no, that now the line has been crossed. It was okay when somebody else's stuff was leaked and I shared about it and I commented on it and I spread it and everything else. But when it comes to me, that's not okay. There's also a scene where the dad gives this huge lecture to his daughter about him protecting her from the world until she's able to do so. Now she's an 18-year-old girl and she's living at home, but she's still in school, and he's giving her this whole thing about, I'm here to protect you. I know what's best for you, even if you don't. And all the while she's wearing these super, super short shorts with her butt hanging out, and he has zero problem with her traipsing all over town like that. So it doesn't make any sense to me. So if this dad is totally intent on protecting his daughter from all of the harms of the world, but he lets her go out like that where she is chased and leered at by all kinds of people, some with, well, none of them have good intentions, and some of them have downright evil intentions. So there is a bit of a social commentary going on within the film, and it's that we all have something to hide, and we don't want it to get out, and that our privacy is our privacy. What this does, though, is we all live in a state of fear then, that we all have this hidden that could become public, and that we don't want it to. And so the social commentary is, what do you keep? What do you delete? What do you not even post or even take? So a lot of this, especially it's relevant for today's society because we have instant access to all kinds of stuff. I mean, we carry around computers in our pockets that have instant access to the internet, to the world. And therefore, though, if we have access to it, it has access to us. And so our data is not really private. So we really need to be careful about what we take, what we say, what we show, because it could be shared against our will. It also talks about that everything has a consequence. Now, in some ways, the film does a good job of showing this. In other ways, it just kind of falls short, that it doesn't really play out all of the consequences that happen. And I can't get into too much of that because it really spoils a lot of the film, but there are certain things that happen towards the end of the film where there is a large amount of consequences that are happening to one party and yet not the other. And so it's just completely unbalanced. And really, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess that kind of makes it an absurdist movie then, because you just have all of these things that are so outlandish happening, but yet they don't totally resolve. And so that's a little bit disappointing. Now, the town is called Salem. And so what you have really going on is a modern day Salem witch trial, or actually not even a trial, just a witch hunt. And this just devolves. As you can imagine, in today's society, mob mentality takes over, and stupid becomes just expanded upon. And so the more people you add, the lower the IQ goes. So that, you start out with one person who has a bad idea, you add 50 to that, and now they're all terrible ideas, but in their mind it's like, no, this is exactly what we should be doing, this is what we need to do, and guess what? I'm totally justified in going to hunt these people. It's okay. Yeah. Now the town goes insane, and it's kind of like the Purge at one point, because you just have all of these people in masks out going throughout the town, and they have all kinds of weaponry, and they're out just hunting. Some of the absurdity comes with the ultra-violence that happens towards the end of the film, and it just all of a sudden everybody is armed. And it's not like they're armed with a knife or just a pistol. I mean, some of these people have just automatic weapons, and you're like, where did you get these? What? I mean, I understand that some people have these, and you have these mountain militia people that, they stockpile all kinds of stuff. But this is, anywhere USA, Salem is. That's what they're purporting. That it could be any small town in the country. And, okay, so everybody's armed like that? It didn't ring true to me that everybody would have access to all of these weapons and such a diverse amount of them. There's a moment towards the end of the film where the girls who are being hunted, they rise up and they start walking down the street, because now they have found some force, they have found some strength. They're going to just stand up to their attackers and their hunters. And through some course of events, you have more people joining them. And all I could see and all I could hear in my head was the scene from Hot Rod as they're walking down the street, and all of these people are singing and dancing behind them, and it's this giant thing that just happens, and all of a sudden it breaks into chaos, and it's like, oh, that was really crazy. Well, that's just it just reminded me of that a lot, that you all of a sudden you have these four central characters just walking, and people just kind of start showing up, and they're not really weirded out, and they're not totally like caught off guard either by, oh, wait, where did you all come from? There's some continuity issues too that happen within this. There's like one person is killed by another person, and there's not actually any physical touch like hands to body or arms to body or anything like that, and yet this character is covered in blood as they're being led away by the police. And it doesn't make any sense, because in no scene do we see bodily contact happen in this attack. So it just kind of was like, okay, whatever. I guess it's to show, it's more of an illustrative point of view to just be like, oh, that was a horrible person. And yet then you turn it around that everybody is applauding them because they took down a bully, or this person wronged them, and so they were totally justified in killing this other person, or at least attacking them. We don't know if they died or not. Because of the events surrounding, the police are involved in some way, shape, or form. And we see really just two members of the police force. An officer who does patrol, and then a detective. Now, at one point towards the end of the film, the detective who is the most invested in figuring out everything that's going on and trying to solve this mystery of who is hacking and who is leaking all of these things that is leading to all of this chaos, he just disappears from the film and is never heard from again. Nothing happens to him. He just is no longer part of the story. And I have a problem with that. Now, from a technical standpoint, this film pulls from so many different influences. It's like the director didn't have his own style, and so he's just going to steal and borrow from all of these others and smash them together. The only problem is it doesn't totally work, because you can't maintain that. It's just like, okay, well, we're going to do this at the beginning, and then we're going to move into a completely different type of feel here, and then a completely different type of feel here. And it's not a uniform feel, even in little bits and pieces throughout the entire thing. If it was frenetic the entire way through, okay, it might be annoying, but it would at least be consistent. I really enjoyed some of the technical aspects at the beginning. He's showing split screens and tri-split screens. It's split into 3 and sometimes just 2, and it's showing all kinds of different scenes going on at the same time in different locations. And so it did a really good job of illustrating what's going on without having us to go fully into that one scene. But that only happened at the beginning, and then okay, that type of filmmaking is done. Now we're just going to do this, and okay, now that's gone. Now we're going to do this. Most of the characters are vapid and self-absorbed, and it really became hard, especially at the beginning, to feel any kind of sympathy towards them, because should their stuff have been leaked and you feel bad about that, that these people are being tormented and tortured and just spit upon or whatever it is because of their private lives, sure, okay, that is unacceptable. However, these are just terrible people. I mean, it's kind of like Mean Girls. Like, you know, they're really mean and really bad, except there's a whole lot of people. And so it's really hard to feel any kind of sympathy towards them. And so, well, while I don't think that they should be hunted and killed, I also think, well, hey, you know what? You posted all this crap about people and now it became public and they don't like you anymore. Well, hey, guess what? There are consequences to our actions. I think that's one of the things that just bothers me about the film is this huge blur of right and wrong, that you have a lot of subjective morality going on. So what's right for me is right for me, what's right for you is right for you, until what's right for you infringes on what's right for me, and now I have a problem with that. Well, see, that doesn't totally work. You either have to have right and wrong, or you have to be okay with, well, even though I disagree with how you treat me because it goes against my subjective morality, I have to accept that you can just be however you want. It didn't hold up for me. Now, I didn't dislike every single thing in this film. There is one scene towards the end of the film where it's a long, continuous take. I thought it was technically excellent. It moves throughout just different aspects of a house and around, and I thought that was done really, really well, and I really liked that. I wish they would have employed more of that style throughout the film, or at least taken some chances like that and do some really long shots. Do some things that are just, you know, like, director, choose your own style and go with that. Stick with that. Own it and love it and make it great. Like I said before with the split screen and the 3 split screens, I enjoyed that. I thought that was a good aspect of the filmmaking because, like I said, it allowed me to see different things going on at the same time in different locales. I just wish that it wouldn't have been done just at the beginning and then never again. If you're going to do it, then, you know, put it throughout the film and let me enjoy it that way. Now, when I turned my brain off and let the hyper-violent images at the end and the action just go, well, guess what? It was an enjoyable action film when that was happening. But that's not what the majority of the film was, and it was really hard to turn my brain off at this point because I had so many questions and so many issues with all of the different and conflicting stories that are coming out. Had Assassination Nation been able to focus itself and really just stick to one central narrative, I think it had the potential to be a good social commentary, or at least to cause some discussion. But as it was, it's all over the place. It's just a hot mess that doesn't know exactly what it's trying to say, except I'm just going to say a whole lot of everything and, oh, you're going to like it. There's some brief nudity, a lot of sexual dialogue and sexual behavior and even sex, and then an insane amount of profanity and violence. Unfortunately, because there was just so much that I didn't like about the film and I couldn't wrap my head around that, it didn't make sense together, and it conflicted with itself, and it just contradicted itself. I can't really recommend this at all. I give Assassination Nation 1/2 out of 5 couches. Are you a fan of hyper-violent movies? I'd love to know in the comments below. If you have a recommendation, share that as well. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.